Right, we bought basically short $8.4 billion of credit default swaps related to mortgages or financial companies.
You must have been pretty confident that this thing was going to blow
Well,
up.
we had a giant bet for us, and I was extremely confident in the outcome.
Were your investors as confident?
I think a few investors were.
Some of them thought you were crazy. Some of them probably thought you lost your mind.
I know for sure that some of them thought I lost my mind.
So you made a ton of money.
Made a ton of money, much more than I ever imagined, I'd ever have.
Were your clients grateful?
I think a lot of clients were just glad to be done with it at the end.
Even though they doubled their money?
Well, we made $725 million, I think. Perhaps I had made the trade too big for the fund. And my confidence in the trade had ticked off some people.
Even though you made them rich?
It's remarkable. There are investors who made tens of millions off this, and we're still pretty upset.
13FS just came out last week. This is where we get to see all famous investors' portfolios. Michael Burry, aka Mr. Big Short, made some big moves this time. We'll break down what those are and how they impact you in a few seconds. But here's a hint, they're good as gold. The same can be said for Burry's economic predictions, which is exactly why we should all listen. He saw the housing market crash coming before almost everyone else and exited the situation with over $800 million in profits. When market chaos went from house hunters to headshot hunters, Burry helped fuel the GameStop saga and got out with the bag, holding over $270 million. This time, Burry is going for a bag of gold that you can chase after too. He tweeted on November 15th, "Long thought that the time for gold would be when crypto scandals merge into contagion." Anybody who follows Burry knows he's rarely direct about what he's talking about. His tweets are like pieces to a jigsaw puzzle the rest of us have to put together. I see Burry's picture of gold rising in value and demand here, and it might reveal routes to diversification for your investing strategy. People always want an alternative to stocks, bonds, and holding cash in times of economic trouble or especially inflation. There are a lot of signs pointing to the former, and there's no denying we have experienced the latter. So much so, June broke records with a 40-year high at over 9%. Gold represents the classic hedge against inflation, as old-timers call it. As inflationary pressures prop up prices, commodity prices will subsequently increase as well, and investors can get a good return on those investments. Prices historically have an inverse relationship with inflation, so as increasing costs of goods and services hit the economy, those who are tied to commodities will savour the rise. Here's why gold still leads the commodity charge and might be attractive to you as an average investor looking for an alternative. It holds intrinsic value and is pretty much immutable, which means it's unable to be changed over time. Gold is also still a big part of most central banks, unlike fiat money. Neither rely on a national credit guarantee that it's worth something. Gold and silver both are pretty much universally valued around the world and recognizable assets. On the dollar side of the golden coin, when a lot of us under 35 think of gold, we think of outdated, stuffy boomers like that loud, grey-haired guy in the Roslyn Capital commercials. Dinosaurs didn't roam the digital age, but younger investors like the privacy of crypto, so nobody is looking over the shoulder, and it's tradable at raptor speed as long as you know wallet addresses. The decentralization allowing privacy and an alternative to assets that are worth value simply because governments say so comes at the steep cost of no protection. FTX believers learned that the hard way, as crypto's biggest scandal based on false value projections that sent the cryptocurrency exchange FTX from a $32 billion valuation to bankruptcy and ripping off billions of dollars in clients as the scandal was compared to Bernie Madoff. That's never good, and neither is going from a capitalization of $2.2 trillion to around $830 billion. That's what crypto has done, while gold has held up very well compared to the S&P 500. Safe to say it'd be no surprise to see people go from gigabytes to gold for alternative investments. I have a surprise for you though that can save your portfolio from a big mistake. Gold has actually underperformed during short-term inflation and has a mixed track record during times of inflation overall. In fact, gold's correlation to inflation has been relatively low, 0.16, over the past 50 years on a scale of 0 to 1. 0 being no correlation at all, and 1 being moving in complete harmony. I advise looking into gold as a diversifier, but not buying too deeply into the hype. Who knows if Burry agrees or not, but we can be sure of what he is holding with some of his money thanks to the latest 13F. Given Burry's success at timing the market, his portfolio gives us a possible glimpse at upcoming shifts in stock behavior. We can take advantage of ourselves to get better returns on our own investments. Let's dive in. Geo Group, ticker symbol GEO. Geo Group leads Burry's lean portfolio of just 6 stocks this time. That amount is important though, because in the second quarter, Burry was so bearish on the market, he warned would heavily crash that he sold everything except this one stock. Now, basically 2 million shares carry a market value of $15.5 million, which takes up almost 38% of the overall portfolio. If you're like me, you probably wonder what Geo Group is. It's certainly not the powerhouse we usually see at the top of billionaire portfolios. We talked about gold bars earlier, and now we've reached metal bars. This is a prison stock. The Geo Group is a company that builds, invests, and manages private prisons and mental health facilities across the USA, South America, Canada, and the UK. The United States has the highest prison population of any country, with 1/4 of the world's prisoners housed in US facilities. How do prison stocks make money when the goal of prison is to rehabilitate and punish those who can't even be in society making money of their own? Private prisons sign government contracts that can get $150 per day for services, making indirect money by housing inmates. This might seem like a shaky sector to invest in, but the move has seemingly paid off for Burry, depending on when he got in and out of this holding. The stock price is up over 40% in the last 6 months. Geo Group has locked down Scion's top spot well, so what are the stock cellmates? The second biggest holding is Qurate Retail Group, ticker symbol QRTEA. 5 million shares equate to a market value of $10 million. That amount takes up to 24% of Scion's portfolio. It's not a prison stock though, it's a leading video commerce company. This stock, like countless others, has taken a beating this year, down over 50% in the last 6 months and 70% year to date. Losses are nothing new looking at the history of this company that trades around $2 now. It used to trade over $30 per share in 2015, so I think Burry is going for a buy low, sell high play here. We know he is typically an extremely active trader. Core Civic, ticker symbol CXW, is another private prison that Burry is investing in. This investment of about 725,000 shares at $6.4 million locks down 15.5% of the portfolio. The prison does a lot of Republican campaign funding and historically does well when there's a stronger right-wing presence in government. Burry didn't know the expected red wave would become a red trickle at the time of this investment, and I guarantee that's part of the play here. Nonetheless, Republicans did gain control of the House, and the stock is unsurprisingly up over 25% in the last month and doing pretty well year to date, up almost 19%. Now we go from picking pockets to picking rockets. Aerojet Rocketdyne, ticker symbol AJRD, holds the next position in Scion's portfolio. Over 132,000 shares makes a $5.3 million investment that is 12.84% of the overall portfolio. The stock has performed very well for him lately, at a return over 20% since Q3 ended. If you have patience and the willingness to take a dart throw in a sector that's hard to comprehend and predict, you could find a winner. Aerojet Rocketdyne secured the largest RL-10 engine order from ULA for Amazon's Kuiper satellite broadband system at 116 engines. The plan is to conduct 47 space launches in roughly the next 5 years. Analysts predict that would boost the company's revenues by over 20% yearly. Burry's other 2 investments are significantly smaller, but I'll note them for those who might be interested in doing the due diligence to tail. Charter Communications, ticker symbol CHTR, runs Spectrum's communication services. That takes up a little over 7% of the portfolio. And another communications company, Liberty Latin America, ticker symbol LILAK, ends the holdings as the only investment under $1 million in market value, and it only takes up 2.32% of the portfolio.